Let's start tonight, right? Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛。Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛。Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛。We seek refuge in the fundamental teacher of Sukamuni Buddha. Oh, the Sutra opening Gatha, the Dhamma infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in a million kalpas. Now we are able to hear, to study, and to practice. May we fully understand and realize the Tathagata's true teachings. Chapter 42, and it says, seeing illusions of the world. So I'm not going to go through the whole chapter. I'm going to go through each paragraph of the whole chapter. There are 13, total of 13 illusions here. This is the end of this whole sutta. Okay, the last chapter of the sutra. So, so the first paragraph, it says, the Buddha said, I look upon positions of nobility as dust drifting through a crevice. So if you look at the original teaching, it comes in a big paragraph, but I divided into 13 different paragraphs. So you can actually see these are actually 13 different illusions. What the Buddha said about the world, how it's not he seeing the world, it's us seeing the world. Okay, so it's actually a big difference of him seeing the world and us seeing the world. So, and he says in here, the first is, he looked at the positions of nobility as dust drifting through a crevice. And so when people in that position of being noble and royal and all that, they think is such a blessing, is such a high status, and is glamorous and authority and powerful and whatever you want to name this kind of status. But the Buddha said it's just like dust drifting through a crevice. I think the most vivid example you can see is if you have the door open, or if you have a window open, and during a bright day, and you look through, and if it's inside it's dark, and you see the ray of sun going through the window, and you see specks of dust in that window, in that ray of light. So what's the big deal? Yeah, that dust actually is shining in the ray of light. Have you ever seen that? We all have seen that, right? So that dust is actually shining in that ray of light. But what's the big deal about this? It's no big deal about this. It means that in this lifetime, in our life, we become noble person. What about the next life that we do not, if we do not practice at all, what is going to happen next life? What is going to happen? Even though this life, oh, I sit on high throne, and people bow to me, and people respect me because I'm the king, I'm the queen, I'm whatever, the prime minister, whatever, people make way for you. And so we are actually nothing. As we were just like dust floating everywhere, up and down, here and there. At the end, what will we become? We become dust. We become dust. And does the nobility go with you? Yeah, there may be a plaque. Oh, the queen is buried here. So what? So where's the queen? Dust. Go back to the earth, right? Or laying in the coffin inside the cascade. Where is the queen? Where's the nobility? Nowhere to be seen anymore. So he said, don't just look at these things as like really forever, permanent things. And this is just impermanent thing, and this is just like illusions, like the dust you see through the crevice. Okay? So this is the first illusion that he actually talked about. And there is a very famous Chinese saying. We think that it's so important to get rich, right? You see all these entrepreneurs in Hong Kong, the big shot, Forbes, top 10, one of the top 10 wealthy people in the world, you know, Mr. So-and-so Ka-Sing and whatever, right? But the Chinese saying is that the wealth doesn't last for 3 generations. You know what does that mean? Okay, for example, this generation, you get very you get very wealthy. Or the father, the parents work their heads off and develop a kingdom of whatever real estate, in it. Okay, pass on the inheritance to the next generation. Next generation may behave a little bit because they saw the parents struggle and they saw parents had a hard time, and so they may treasure a bit, and then they abuses the wealth a bit, half and half. You're lucky to get half and half, okay? Then pass it on to the next generation. The next generation may not really treasure. So that's why in the Chinese saying this actually doesn't last. The wealth and the virtue doesn't last for 3 generations. I don't know whether in Western sayings is there anything like this? No. But in Chinese, we have, because I think Chinese, because the cultures have been, it's so long, so they have seen it through the history. Okay, so, and the second is that I look upon treasures of gold and jade, a mere rubble. The words are so small, huh? Big enough for you at the back? You got good eyes. All right, good. That's a good thing about TV. Okay, so we see gold and jade as a jewel and gem, and a lot of times we spend big money to acquire them because we think it represents what? Wealth, our status. And if you are a man, you buy one for your girlfriend, a big 10-carat diamond ring. You said, wow, you are so important in my life. I spend money to buy you 10 carat of diamond ring. So, and the woman think, oh yes, I'm so important that my boyfriend buy me a 10 carats diamond ring. Because we add so much value, our own value. It's an illusion. What is it after all? It's some polished stone. Polished stone, which glitter. It's all shiny and sparkling. Yeah. And yeah, and then we add an S with 2 stroke on it, right? So it's so nice. And it's, wow, big jewel, wow, gold and jade, because we put a value to it. If we don't put a value to it, in the old days, who actually go and open up those mines, those we call it ore, those stones, the diamond or whatever, diamond are stones too, right? Yeah, somebody has to go and blast it out and then take them. In the old days, people worry about their life. People worry about mix and life needs. Like, who cares to go and then blast out the stone and try to look for the stones and polish them down and sell them? for nothing. Nobody would buy them at that time. But when the society become more affluent, people start to think of also things to decorate themselves, to show them they have status in the society, and to show them it's so valuable because you are wearing this 10-carat diamond ring on your finger. I never had a ring in my life, I tell you, never. And even when my sisters were crazy about, designer ring and all that, I looked at them and, I never went into a jewel shop, never. And I think I had one necklace, which my brother gave to me when I was 18 or 21, couldn't remember. But I don't know where I don't know where I gave it to. Probably gave it to my niece when I renounced, but I can't remember now. So why would we think that these are jewels, these are treasures? Because it's illusion. We think they are so precious because we attach a value, we attach a status, we attach whatever that actually represents its value to it. Okay, so when there is a war, we think that the gold is going to soar up. We better buy gold now because they're going into war. In Syria, it started, right? And Korea, they're going to start. So we better buy gold. Why? Because we want to make money. Yeah? Or we think buying gold, we're going to protect ourselves. That's also, it's an illusion. Why do you have to worry about protecting yourself? I always say, if it's time for you to die, you can die anywhere. If it's not time for you to die, no matter where you are, you won't die. The main cause of death is not a heart attack. It's not cancer. It's karma. If you do not have that karma, even you are in a war zone, you won't die. Even you got a bomb just exploded just next to you, you won't die. Just simple, so simple. So you look at our society now. You look at some auction place, very very famous Sotheby's auction place, a painting that can worth how many billions of dollars. It's crazy. It's crazy. So you hang up that painting, you hardly look at it when you go home. You just walk by it at days in and days out. But when people come in, you show them because it's the value that you added to that painting, and it is a representation of a status. Isn't that illusions? How much is the status? I always say, can you weigh the status and how much to a catty, how much to a pound, how much to a kilo? So when you buy something like this, okay, as I bought back a pack of tea, which is claimed to be 30 years old, black tea from China, and how much they cost now? Could be $10,000 a caddy. Yeah. Oh yeah. 30 years old. Oh yes. You see, 30 years ago, it was just tea leaves being picked and being packed. And 30 years later, it's called old tea. We should be very precious because we are old people. we are, also there is a Chinese saying, is that if there's an old person in the family, it's just like as if that there's a jewel in the family. There's Chinese saying, because why? An old person is so experienced because they have seen life, and the experience cannot be replaced. And no matter how much we want to be comparable to them, we cannot. We cannot be, right? So, so, so make sure you spend your money buying things now, so that you give it to your children, and then 30 years later they say, hey, my mom bought me this 30 years ago, it's now a piece of antique. Don't be fooled by this. All of these are illusions. All of these are our own illusions, our own mind, because we add value to this ourselves, and we also devalue them when we don't like them. Yeah. So so it doesn't mean that, oh, you cannot spend money to buy carats of diamond, or buy some gold earrings. No, it doesn't mean that. But if you lose one, when don't cry over it. It's just a stone, piece of stone. Okay, and then the third one, he said, I look upon garments of fine silk as worn out rags. It's the same. Fine silk are considered as very expensive, of high class fabrics. You can see if you go to buy fabrics, those with the silk are way more expensive. But with polyester or with cotton, oh, so much cheaper. So silk is a brand. So whenever there is a silk in that fabric, that means you're going to pay more. So it's just like brand names, brand things. Oh, purse! Wow, this purse is a famous brand. Like people is willing to pay because there's a brand there, a brand name there. Brand name clothes, brand name purse, runners, shoes, jackets, everything. So, but a lot of times we forget the purpose of wearing shoes, the purpose of wearing jacket, the purpose of driving a car, the purpose of doing our hair or putting your nail varnish on. Why? The whole purpose of wearing clothes is to protect ourselves. The whole purpose of carrying a purse is to put everything in so that they don't get all, oh, thank you. They don't get all disorganized, right? So does a brand name purse will be less disorganized? Then it's just an ordinary purse. I don't I don't have any say to that, but of course, as we go back to the first and the second, it's also, is this power thing lurking around, this authority thing, and this status thing lurking around in our mind. So it's, oh, well, using this wonderful branding purse that shows that I am high class, wearing this silk scarf. You see, oh, so pretty, high class. You see, I've got this H gu G gu scarf on me. Does it look nice? If you don't wear it, does it not look nice? If we don't realize these are all dust, these are all dust that is constantly adding onto that mirror, we will lose our mind very easily. And if we do not keep our practice on the path continuously and constantly and being aware of it, we will end up chasing after all these things. And I have seen people really chasing after brand names, any new things that come up, they will need one, or even need two, or even need three. different colors, same style. So today wearing red, tomorrow purple, the next day green. So one day you like a frog, the other day you like a beetroot, the other day you like a blue sky. So what does it tell you? What does it tell you? You are just showing it in the outside. What is the inside? The inside is hollow, substanceless. There's no substance in there. It doesn't mean that we don't need to dress up. We do need to dress up. You guys need to dress up. I do need to dress up too, right? I mean, I'm home, so I'm casual. When you see us going out, we dress up clean, at least clean, tidy, organized. And you folks have to encounter, you have to deal with people. You go to work, you go to school, you go to parties, you go to dinners and your friends, funerals, weddings. You need to dress up because you respect yourself, you respect the host, you respect your friends, you respect the society. You have to dress up, but doesn't mean that you need to dress up with silk. Don't forget the purpose of all these things. It's just to give us the bare minimum to protect us. So when you start to walk on the path, you will notice your life will become, you adopt a more simple life. Simplicity comes into your life so readily and so often, so frequently. And you look at your closet. My dad complained about my closet, not complain my closet, complain about my laundry when I used to wash my laundry on Sundays, and I hung it out. And he said, every time he only said it once. He said, every time you wash your laundry, the whole house becomes so dark. Because I always wear dark color clothes at that time, either deep dark blue or no purple, or brown or black. And on Sundays, I do my washings, hung it up, and he always have, after coming back from dim sum, and he look, it's all dark, and he's shading off all the light. And he said, "You see, it's all dark here." I said, "I'm sorry, Dad, I'm sorry. I hardly have any like bright color clothes. I mean, in my whole life, I think I wear more red now than before." In my whole life, I remember I only have one red color jacket. That's the one I think I can remember. I bought it from Russia, I think. One red jacket. One. and now I wear red more during ceremony than way back before. So if we realize this, look upon the garments of fine silk as one rag, if we realize this, we could feel much happier and easier on ourselves. We don't have to force ourselves to spend so much money to buy fancy clothes and fancy purse because my friend has a fancy purse, so I need to be comparable to her when I go out with her. You don't have to be. You are yourself. Yeah. So, okay. So those are the three illusions. Okay, let's go on to look at the next one. And he said, the fourth and the fifth. The fourth and the fifth. I look upon the universe as a small haritaki fruit. Sorry. Okay, let us go to see what is a haritaki fruit. Haritaki fruit is actually a tree which bear these fruits. And the Buddha said, I look upon the universe as a small haritaki fruit. A haritaki fruit is really nothing. It doesn't do anything. But why would the Buddha say so? Why do you think the Buddha would say this? No?
Because it's caught in the material world.
Yeah, you could say that. Okay, let us look at these two. Oh gosh, no. The fourth, look at the fourth one. I look upon the universe as a small haritaki fruit. I look upon the water of the Anvatapa lake as oil applied to the feet. Okay, you can look at these two in one go. Okay, let us go back to here. So, haritaki fruit, look at the universe. The universe is so big, isn't it? It's so big. If we just count this universe, this human Earth as our universe, is huge already. Don't count the galaxy, the Mars everywhere. Don't count that. But the Buddha said, I look at the universe, it's just like this little fruit. And he looked upon the water of this great lake, which all these 4 rivers in India actually arises from, including the Ganges and including the Indus River and 2 more famous rivers. And those are big rivers where they arise from this lake. And these 4 lakes, I mean, this big lake is just like the oil that apply to the feet. So big universe in a small fruit. And just this big lake is just like a few drops of oil that we apply to our feet. So what does it mean? Yeah, without attachment. Why would we attach? Our eyes, sorry.
I was going to say, all we see is this world. We don't know there's something else, there's other realms.
Okay, the first part is correct. Yes, we all see. That's what we all see with our own human eyes. That's what we can only see. Now we can only see what is going on in this room now. Outside, can we see? We can hear the rain coming, but we don't know how bad it is, how heavy it is, how many puddles will we have out there. We don't see. Okay, so what's happening in the kitchen? We can't see. So there's this our ability to see is so limited, and from the Buddha eyes, no matter how vast the lake is, or no matter how small the fruit is, to the Buddha's eyes, they are all the same. Why would you think that to the Buddha's eye, it's all the same?
They're all impermanent?
You're all impermanent, yes? Yes?
They're not sort of self-existent, they're conditioned from cause.
Yep, they arises because of conditions. They go because of conditions. Yeah? And also,
what exists in the world, the big world, exists in the little fruit also.
yeah, what exists in the big universe also exists in this little nutty thing. Yeah? What exists in the big lake also exists in that few drops of oil. Can you see that? Okay, what exists in you in the physical existence? What are the elements?
Water, air, earth.
Fire, okay. Does it exist in the nut? Does it exist in the universe? Does it exist in the lake? It does, doesn't it? But it's just that our perception is always misleading us, right? And we see, oh, this notch is so small, it's nothing. But it's the whole universe in there, isn't it? And the Buddha, whether it's big or small, vast or narrow, because it's our mental perception and our mental value that added to this particular thing or this particular phenomenon. To the Buddha, they should be, they are looked at being the same. That's why the Buddha said there is a universe in this little fruit, and this big lake is comparable to few drops of oil. Because to the Buddha, everything is the same. Because he doesn't see the apparent existence of that thing. He see the absolute truth pertaining to that existence. What is the absolute truth pertaining to that existence? Is that impermanent? Is that conditions that make them existing? Right? That's the absolute truth. The ultimate truth. The apparent truth is we see only this right now here. But the Buddha see the absolute truth is this is empty. Empty of its own self. But it's existing because of all the conditions. So whether it's a little fruit or whether it's a big lake, doesn't matter to the Buddha's eyes. But to us, because we have this deluded mind, we think, oh, such a vast lake. Oh, this is such a small fruit. How can a universe exist in there? But the universe does. Okay? Understand? All right, good. So, and then the fifth one, he said, I look upon expedient means as a cluster of imaginary jewels. And what does it mean by expedient means? Is like a convenient way to attract sentient beings to practice. And it is said that in many teachings, the Buddha has 84,000 ways to attract 84,000 different kinds of sentient beings to come and practice. So he has so many different teachings. And so these expedient or convenient ways exist for the people who need them, right? So different people need different teachings. And when these teachings are not necessary to be there, are not usable anymore, because those people who will be using these teachings have already become enlightened, or they don't need them anymore, those teachings will disappear. So it's just like a cluster of imaginary jewels. That means you imagine them. It's not there. Okay, so it's it doesn't exist. Okay, so when we talk about 84,000 ways to transform, or for 84,000 different sentient beings to get rid of 84,000 kinds of afflictions, when we talk about this, think about why now so many people or so many different kind of practices existing in the world, even in the Buddhist teachings, or in Christianity, or in Catholicism, or in other faith. Because why?
To reach as many people as possible.
Exactly. Because some people like black coffee, some people like coffee with cream, some people like coffee with double sugar, no cream, and some people with double cream, double sugar. And I like tea. And orange pekoe tea, or English breakfast tea, or Earl Grey tea. You know, so if the teaching doesn't provide so many resources, that means you cannot like receive those people who actually, some people who might not be able to meditate. They don't like meditation. They don't have the seat to meditate. So if you want to force meditation onto them, it doesn't work. You push them away. Why don't you give them chanting then? Oh, some people don't like chanting. Oh, ask them to recite. Just sit there and read. Or even, okay, simple, Amitabha name. Reciting the Amitabha name. Or some people like some people don't even know reciting Amitabha name. Oh, do work and contemplate. You know, while you sweep away the dust on your mind. Sweep. So different teachings actually allow different kind of people to come close to the teachings. Okay, so that's why my teachers always say, when he was alive, he said, remember when he sent us here 22 years ago, he said, remember, the door is always open. The door is always open. You can go as you please, and you can come as you please. Why does he say that? Does it mean that we don't care who comes? We don't care who goes? No. We respect whoever comes, and we respect whoever chooses to go, because we cannot force anybody to stay. Nor we can force and drag people to come here. We can't, because it's their own merits, it's their own path that bring them here, and it's their own path that bring them out from here. So this is he taught. When he told me this, I just blindly believed this. Okay, I always say to my students, I always say to my friends, oh, the Poland store is always open. You can come in, you can go. But gradually I understood so well, because we have to respect everybody's their own karma, their own choice that they have already planted. Okay, then you say, well, if we have planted such courses in the past, that actually, you know, the karma arises. Okay, then I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave Poland. Okay, well, so many nuns have left Poland. You could say no. I'm not going to follow you. You can go. I'm going to stay. No matter how unhappy I am, I'm going to stay here. No matter how miserable life is here, I'm going to stay here. Because why? There's also a Chinese saying. I'm crazy with Chinese saying today. Nostalgic. There is a fruit called yuanmui, huh? I don't know what's this yuanmui. It's a kind of plum. Okay, we don't have plum here. Not that kind of plum. That kind of plum is red and round, small like this, and spiky, but soft. The spikes are very soft, and you wash them. I think I don't know whether in Burma or in India or in Thailand have. They probably have it in tropical country.
You crack it open.
No, you just. The skin is all spiky. No, rambutan you have to break it, right? It's small like this. And he said, he says, all these plums, everywhere you go, they carry the same flower. The same flower. The blooms are always the same. Like peach trees. Everywhere you go, no matter where you go and look at a peach tree, you look at a bloom, a flower that bloom on a peach tree. They always look the same. Pink with little spikes and all that. No matter which part of the world you go, if it's just a peach tree, that kind of peach tree, you get that kind of flower. And that's the same as a place where you choose to practice. You can go and choose, you can go to choose places, you can go to find place in this whole universe, in this whole world. You exhaust all your energy trying to find a place where you can call home. And you think that would be the best place. That would be my best home. I tell you, you will not find it. Why? Because you are trying to find an outside home. The real home is not this physical space. The real home is here, inside here. You can only find the home here. Any physical environment is just temporary. And that is not your real home. Even in a place which is turmoil or chaotic, you can still feel peace and harmony. And you can still be as happy as you can. Agree?
Yes.
Yeah. So remember the monk I told you about, who actually constantly went into dozing off, and he sat next to the cliff and said, I'll look at you and see how you do. So he fell off the cliff. Remember that, monk? Now you remember this story. At last you remember I told you this story. Eventually, the last chapter. But anyway, he said to his students, no matter where you go, you want to find a place, a monastery that would suit you, you will never find it. But if you try to find a place where you try to suit yourself into that place, you integrate yourself into the place rather than allowing trying to force a place to what? To please you. You can never find it. No. You have to adjust yourself into the place, to fit into the place. You have to fit into the place, not the place to fit into you. Okay? Because the place is not just for you. The place is for everybody. And everybody who comes into that place has to try to find that spot and fit into that spot. Understand? Do it, okay? Do it. All right? So I look upon expedient means as a cluster of imaginary jewels. The sixth, I look upon the supreme vehicle as a dream of gold and silk. He said, I look upon the supreme vehicle as a dream of gold and silk. The supreme vehicle, that means a practice, a path that brings everyone to Buddhahood, to enlightenment, to liberation. That is called a supreme vehicle. And for a lot of practitioners, a lot of us will think, oh, my goal is to be enlightened. Nibbana, Nibbana, Nibbana. What is the purpose of your meditation? I want to go to Nibbana. I want to be enlightened. Oh, come on, cool down. Anybody wanting to get enlightened? Anybody constantly wanting to get enlightened? Anybody constantly having this Nibbana, I want to get Nibbana, I want to achieve Nibbana, they are walking away from Nibbana. Because the mind is not balanced, the mind is craving. And a lot of people think, yeah, we want to be liberated from samsara. You don't just want to be liberated from samsara. You have to practice in order to be able to liberate yourself from samsara, not just a want, not just a thought, not just a wish. You have to practice. You have to walk. Okay? He said, for those who have actually become enlightened, that stage is like gold and silk in dreams. After waking up, where is the gold? Where is the silk? For those who have who have become enlightened, they know this is nothing. This is just the fruit of our own practice. But for us who have not enlightened yet, and we always imagine, oh wow, dream of gold and silk. Nibbana is just like gold and silk. Enlightenment is just like gold and silk. And he said, no, it's the way to Buddhahood is more important that you walk on it rather than dreaming on it. Yeah. And if we are constantly aware and we're constantly trying to not fight off, but correct and transform ourselves, correct our afflictions and transform our mind and transcend our limitations, then one day we don't have to dream about this gold and silk. We'll be there. And once we are there, we know it's not just dreams of gold and silk. So for one to experience, one doesn't, well, yeah, maybe for a split second you feel, wow, blissful. but when you reach that stage, I think it's just as normal as anything. Because otherwise you can't be liberated. Right? You can't be liberated. If you always look at this enlightenment as gold and silk, then you can't be liberated. Okay? All right. It seems that we may be able to finish this. And he says, I look upon the Buddha way as a flower in the air. And this is, he said, this is also an illusion. A flower in the air, I read from the commentary. It said this is actually an Indian metaphor, but I cannot find it anywhere. He says in the Indian in India they said people with some kind of eye illnesses, they actually see a flower in the air all the time. I see speck in the air all the time. I see flies. What do you call that?
Floaters.
Floaters, yeah. I see floaters, but I don't see flowers. I constantly see floaters in the air. And but they say it's an Indian metaphor. I look into it, I can't find it. So that's what the commentary say. But here I think it means this: a flower is beautiful, especially when it is really blooming. But the flower is so impermanent, isn't it? It doesn't last very long. And same with the Buddha's teachings. You remember when I first started the 42 chapters. Remember I talked about the 5 sasanas. Anybody remember? Or the 3 eras according to the Mahayana teachings. The first 500 years is the years we call the Buddha's era. Then okay, and then the next 1,000 years we call it is just like a model, a statue. Era is another 1,000 years, and then the next 10,000 years is the degradation, the degeneration era. That's the Mahayana's perspective. But in the some of the Theravadan perspective is the 5 sasanas is the first 500 years is the cultivation of wisdom. The second 500 years is the cultivation of samadhi. And then the third 500 years after the Buddha was dead, passing, is the cultivation of morality. And then the next 500 years is the cultivation of generosity, parami. And then the next 500 years is the cultivation of just sutta. Remember that 2,500 years? And now we are in the first of the next 2,500 years. The first five, the the second 2,500 years, the first 500 years. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Because it sounds confusing. Okay. So looking like a flower in the air, that means the teachings of the Buddha also will not last. And it is said in the Mahayana texts, after that 10,000 years, the degeneration era, which we are already in now, because 1,500 years have gone by, and this has gone into the first 1,500. This is the first 1,000 year of the 10,000 year. Okay, so this is already the degeneration era according to the Mahayana teaching. And they said after the 10,000 years, the teachings of the Buddha will start to disappear, or even completely disappear. We wouldn't know, because that's what you can say is a prophecy. We wouldn't know, but what has happened was true. Okay, you can see in the Mahayana practice is very, very different nowadays than the old days. Really, even I see it. Even this year is the 25th year of my monkhood. Even in such a short period of time, 25 years, I have seen this Mahayana teachings change so much. When I first actually encountered the teaching, I could still see a lot of awareness and mindfulness, and or in the chanting, the Zen tradition. I'm talking about China, okay? I'm talking about Hong Kong, Southeast Asia. I'm not talking about North America. But now gradually it changed. It changed so much, and there are a lot of big ceremonial events. Okay, so people going into that you could say the time of parami, yeah, cultivation of parami, generosity and dana, yeah, and then this kind of serious practice is really, you can hardly see anything nowadays. This is really not much. Not many places, not many monasteries actually are upholding that kind of practice anymore. And even though there are some, but they are high away, way deep into the mountains, way deep into really remote area. You don't see much now in the Chinese Mahayana tradition. And also a lot of teachings, they now incorporate a lot of modern scientific approaches, and using a lot of this North American thing called coaching courses, like Carnegie courses or whatever courses. So they are doing a lot of teachings in that kind with that kind of technique, rather than the old ancient teaching that the Buddha taught. So you can see this is the changes actually also change the way people teach, and change the way people look at the teachings, and the emphasis on the teaching, right? So I'm still the old school. That's why we always have a jewel in this house. Old school. And I like the old school, because I think one has to be serious in as a practitioner. One really needs to be serious. You cannot just like a playful thing. Okay, so I think I will stop here. We'll save the other five for next week. I want to show you we have some new friends here. And this is Cyprus, and this is Kaush. We adopted them 4 days ago from Vancouver. He comes from the east end of Vancouver. He was abandoned by their owner. They are both girls, okay? And well, they are called Cyprus and Kaush, but they never respond to Cyprus and Kaush because they were abandoned almost 4 weeks ago. They had a very they looked very sad, but they look a little bit happier. This was taken 2 days ago, but starting yesterday, we can walk them off leash. They follow us everywhere. Yeah, we still have not been able to pet Cyprus. She won't bite, she won't bark at you, but she just very protective of herself. But Coyote is okay, we can pet her. And because of the thunder, and Taisivu can pet Cyprus tonight. So these two new members to Poland, and Cyprus is 7, and Karosh is 6. So they are. I hope they have a golden old age time in Poland. So I look at them and say, wow, you have had a very difficult life. Yeah. And I hope that they will have a nice time here. I think they have. They will have a nice time here. We bring our awareness back to this body, to this breath. Experiencing these constant changes physically, mentally. And we allow this good thought to arise on our mind. For all the benefits I gather from hearing the words of the Buddha, may I share all the benefits, all these merits with all the sentient beings around Polam, human, non-human, visible, invisible, big or small, far or near. May they be free of enmity. May they be free of miseries. May they start to live in a world with brightness, warmth, experience love and peace. May we wish more and more people will encounter the teachings of the Buddha, study them, understand, practice them, and liberate themselves from their own difficulties, entanglements, and be happy and be peaceful. Okay, you have a good week.